Okay, kit review time. Today we've got the Meng 1/35 scale T-90. Slightly different though. This one's got the Dozer blade on the front, so it has a different designation. It's basically the T-90 with the TBS 86. Okay, so it's known as the Dozer. As you can see, if you want a good looking tank, then obviously the T-90 is your one. Alright, usual thing on the box, we've got some very nice interesting schemes, as you can see, and the little colour call outs just down on here. Your kit number is TS014 and round, and we got another one here with the great markings on the side as well, which if I was to do it, that's where you'd be going. Okay, so Meng themselves, we've looked at them before. I'm currently working on some of their kits at the moment. Beautiful kits, fantastically engineered and everything else like that. Now we have already reviewed the T-90, but obviously this is a different one because it's got optional extras and there's a few extra things in here as well. So straight off the bat we have the old instructions, so we'll have a look at these first. As you can see, very nice and glossy, and then you got the usual Chinglish thing going on in here. So obviously we've got it in the various languages, as you can imagine, going right the way over, and even in Russian, which is nice these days. A little bit of history about it and everything else like that. So making your way through, as you can see, usual thing, we're talking armour, so it's going to be sprockets, road wheels, okay, and drives. So that's all those going in. Different parts, obviously, because obviously I was going to be a little bit different, so it's just showing you those going in. Does have a type of working full axle system going in there for the actual tension bars going through, and as you can see, more lumps and bumps being stuck all over this. So this is quite an interesting one, the way it's got Meng written in the middle of it. So yeah, that's a little bit. Actually, that is just for very, very clever. Now I'm looking at it properly instead of just winging it. Okay, this is actually to line up all the tension bars. So it's a jig system that's going to line them all up so they're all laying in the proper position. Brilliant, very nicely done. Okay, so you've got the rear plate going on there, as we can see, with a couple of extra bits of track being bolted on there, all those road wheels and everything going on, and this is the clever part. Now, as we all know, I don't do armour because too many wheels and the tracks drive me mad. Okay, I now know how to paint road wheels the speediest way ever, which we've shown lots of times here on Flory models, and also track has evolved over the last few years, specifically this type of system where you have a little jig, you place them in and you pin them, and then you just cut the pins and away you go, and it's all made. Makes making flexible track so much easier, and because it's flexible, it just makes track look so much better than those old rubber band ones we used to have. So, carrying down and on, basically, as you can see, working on the upper hull, all those bits going on there. You've obviously got the front fender assembly going through. Okay, the top hull meets the lower hull. Okay, and then obviously we've got some of the rear plates going in down the back. It's obviously the exhaust system coming up. Okay, and some more of the fine little details, which will probably be exquisite if they follow the usual routine. And we've got those very, very noticeable fuel tanks, the drums on the back. Lighting system going on the front, okay, going through. Something I've thought about doing perhaps in the future is actually fully LED lighting one of these. I think it'd be lovely, especially with some of the new smaller LEDs. Side skirts going together, again, great attention to detail with all of those parts. Those are looking very, very nice. Then they're being attached to the actual armour itself. So you've got tow cables, usual things going on, de-ditching bits in there, okay. Those fuel drums on the back, as we were talking about, okay, and we've got attaching the fuel pipe system so it can run off those drums first, and then we've got the actual armour system going on, the extra armour plates going on there, it's the anti-radiation system all fitting in, the gunner's assembly. Obviously there's no full interior to these, but you know, it's well, you're going to see those bits if you've got the hatch open. Okay, more parts going on the turret, more of this armour being put on there, more armour, various things. Okay, and then we got the mantle going on the front for the gun. The usual parts all being put off these. So these are the attachment points for those very brilliant looking, almost insect-like, for the infrared lights from the front. Okay, and here are the infrared lights going together, and that's something we're going to speak about in a moment. This is what makes this kit different to the other T-90. This has an actual light inside those red infrared lights, so you can actually, they are a working item now. Talking about putting the wiring in for those, because obviously we've got the wiring comes in the top. Okay, attaching them fully, putting them in, and then round on the front. Again, we've got the turret parts, more of all the stowage, all the ammunition things, all like that going on there. The commander's little bit, his periscope area being put together, okay, and finished off at the top. You've got the anti-aircraft gun or general purpose machine gun fitted to the top. Okay, and you've got the commander set going in there. Okay, gun barrel going on the front. A couple of little obviously options. You can either have it with the blade or without. Personally, I think it looks good with it on. Okay, and then you're putting in the what is that called? Attaching the self-entrenching device. Right, okay, very good. So it can make its own trenches. Okay, those parts going on there. So we've got the hydraulic system for the Dozer blade. This is all just specifically for the Dozer blade, which looks a lot more complex. There you see it down here. We've got some photo etch, which you're going to be bending up to give it the metal plates on the side, the blade itself, and then fitting this system down onto it. Okay, last up, turret goes on, as you can imagine. Oh, and then you're going to need your battery, which I don't think they supply for your light to go in. And there we go, that is it. And again, great looking colours. Okay, so you've got that nice mix of the olive drab ones, if you like, and the sort of the three-tone camo, right up to the sort of the more sandy looking modern ones down here. So there we go, absolutely lovely. I must admit, whatever Meng seem to do, they sort of have that Midas touch. It always tends to be very, very good. So in here, start working our way through the bags. All right, so straight off the bat, we can probably bring this top camera down just a little bit, just to make sure we're all in. So hopefully, as you can see, usual thing, some great detail on here. We've got a little bit of checkerboarding, things like that going over the top. This is the lower turret, bits for the main gun, the mantle, and I presume this is something to do with that hydraulic Dozer blade on the front. Okay, again, extremely crisp. We've got a little bit of resin, sorry, not resin, release agent on all the sprues, which makes, you can always tell, if you've ever wondered what it is, if it feels a bit weird like silicone, then you've got release agent, okay? But as you might see, it's a little bit shiny. Now, I bought this kit, this is what obviously my own, when it very first came out, so it may be one of the early ones, and the early ones, they tend to put a little bit more in there. But generally, as you can see, very, very nicely done. Any little cleanup has already been done, which is quite nice to all the little parts. So again, very good. Now, there is multiple parts to this kit, as you can imagine, so we're going to whip through them quite quickly. But generally, some of the things I'm picking up here is like this hatch detail at the top with the actual checkerboard on there is extremely nicely done, and right the way down to the tiniest parts on the inside have actually got, probably, let's just try and get the cameras in on this one. It might be a bit tricky to see, but hopefully you can see down here the detail actually just on something as simple as these hatches. Absolutely beautifully done, very, very nicely done. Okay, all the parts, we've got no flash, we never do if we're honest. Okay, looking absolutely lovely. On the underside, as you say, everything's been cleaned up if it needs to be, but it's very well thought out with usually all the main kits of where your ejector pins are. We'll look at that last. Okay, now we have, interesting bit, upper hull. Okay, again, it's had limited clearing up, but you're going to have to do a little bit more down here because it's going to interfere when you actually drop your the turret on there. Okay, but generally looking at it, as you can see, very nice, very smooth. There's no real release agent on this, but down here at the back, again, these great little details all down here, very, very nicely done. Underneath the skirts, you're not going to see it, there's a little ejector pins down in there. We've got the Meng call out 2012, that was obviously when the original T-90. These again we'll look at in a moment. So we've got the mantle cover itself, which is in rubber. As you can see, that's really, really nice. I actually really like that. That's quite something. Very nicely done. Okay, set of polycaps, obviously it's for the wheels, as we know, and the lower hull. So as you can see there, very nicely detailed underneath and on top. A couple of release marks you might want to just take care of. But as you can see, quite a technically a very nice system. Okay, as you can see on that, really, really nice, very crisp one-piece mold that. Put those back in there. Okay, so we have Some more parts around the top. Again, we have no sign of flash on any of these at all, as you can see. So up here you've got some of this reactive armour set going on the top. We've got some of these infrared lighting, the outer housings for them, some stowage bin doors, things like that. Again, pretty clean, no problems any with that. Again, plenty of release, in fact lots of release agent on there. Yeah, horrible. Right, wheels, we assume we're going to get multiples of the same thing, so we'll just look at one. So as you can see, we've got the wheels, very, very nicely done, very nice detail. All this, you've got like a nice rubbering look, which you can distress down. These tension bars running across, as you can see, extremely nicely detailed. But generally, just looking at these wheels, as you can see, they are very nicely done. Okay, so all of those nicely done, and these idler wheels as well. Very good. Again, it's going to be a dupe, as in a duplicate, so we just look at the one. So again, it's your armour stuff, very nice, as I say, right the way down to these smaller details, beautifully moulded, no problem with flash anywhere on this kit. As I say, a little bit of release agent. It may be worth, I don't do it, I am very much guilty of it, but it could be worth actually turning around and saying, right, okay, I'm going to put this one in the old sink with some mild washing up liquid, you know, your dishwater soap, soft, big brush, just give it a rub round, everything else like that. Take it out, rinse them off in clean water, and then just pat dry them and leave them to air dry. Don't rub them because you're going to lose bits. But it could be one of those kits to do it too, purely because I'm feeling it now. And if you're going to come along and spray it with like an acrylic, especially primers, things like that, it's going to react to it. It's going to give you problems. All right, so there we go. Really, really nice. We've got the upper turret here. As you can see, this nice casting marks on it. Very nicely done. Absolutely exquisite. You can see the detail reflecting in the light here. Very nice. It has that very organic look to it, a very sort of natural type of thing. I always say it looks like the top of a praying mantis, one of these things, with the bug eyes on it. Very nice. As you can see, no detail on the inside. It's one of those things. Other kits like the Bradley, you can have it as external and it comes with internal, but then it's an AFV, an armour fighting vehicle. It's got troop areas, big doors, you can understand it. With these, I think it'd be nice if they did do a version with the old, you know, crew, or perhaps even if you could take the top off to show, that would be quite a nice touch. Okay, nice little sprue here. So this guy here, this is for those infrared lights, as you can see. It's beautifully done. I know the camera will probably fight me all the way to look at this thing. But generally, if we can try and get it in there, that would be lovely. Okay. All right, and then we've got the rest of the bits and pieces on the back there, just like that. Again, no problems with any of that. This little guy we'll look at in a moment. Okay. Somebody the other day said to me about Meng kits. What do you think of Meng kits? And I was like, technically, I haven't really built many of them. Done a couple bits now and everything else. I find them to be probably the leader now in kit development. What they come out with and what they do and everything else is absolutely beautiful. Their design, the build work and everything else. So if you're thinking about getting it and there's a Meng available, go for it. That's the thing. The trouble is though, is the price are a little bit more expensive, but certainly it's worth it in my opinion, because if you want a build to go together with no problems at all, then grab yourself a Meng kit. Okay, so what have we got down here? Looks like an intercooler here, or a turbocharger unit. Very, very nicely done, very clean, very crisp. No, there's not even any mold marks where the injections put in. Sometimes you get tide marks. It's nothing, it's only something you can see. You can't feel it. You'll never see it when it's been painted on, but you can't even see it on these kits. Beautifully done. As you can see, the kit that keeps giving, loads and loads of parts. Okay, so we've got some of this upper detail, as you can see, just down here. Looking very nice, all is board. We've got the gun itself, which is in some type of sleeve. No, sorry, that's the ditching bar for the rear. This is the gun at the front. Sorry, shows what I know about armour. Okay, and we've got the rear exhaust system. Again, there's a tiny, tiny little bit of flash, and I can only say it now to balance out this review. But you might see just down here, we've got a tiny bit of flash on this, which is an extremely complex, very thin part. So we'll let them off. But there is a tiny bit of flash on there, but that is purely because I can be uber picky on this particular kit because it is so good. Okay, and then on the bank side, no ejector pins anywhere. Anytime you do get an ejector pin with Meng kits, they always take them out. And sometimes you think, really, you don't need to, but hey, if you've done it for me, it saves us all a job. Okay, some of the bigger stuff now. So what we've got here, didn't cut that one very well. Okay, so as we can see, just down on here, we've actually got the actual stowage and side skirts, things like that. These side skirts as well, if you can see them, are actually rippled. They're actually bent, which is a nice touch. Slightly on each side, which is very nice. Okay, we've got some of the top detail again for the round on the back. That's beautiful stuff, as you can see. Nice, cleanly molded. No sign of flash, particularly on this one. Okay, we've got these drums at the back, which obviously have got molded in. The actual strapping, things like that, is all taken care of. And on the back side, again, it's all been cleaned up for you. All right, so no problems with any of that one at all. Really, really nicely done. Okay. A bit toughy to get into this one. Okay. Okay, so down here we've got some of the drive units just down the back here, as you can see, and they're moving up. It's stowage. We've got the rear plate, the various parts down here. Again, very nicely touched. The fenders on the front, okay, with a nice looking rubber skirts added on the front, which are obviously molded in, nicely touched. Got the top turrets, and then obviously some of the smaller parts, complete with the gun on the top as well. Very nicely done, all of that. Again, a little bit of release agent on this. You probably see it looks wet. That's because it is. All right, but again, give it a wash. You'll be absolutely fine with that. Okay, we have a rubber sprue. Technically, can you have a rubber sprue? Okay. Okay. So as you can see, ding, 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 very nice. Now this is for your armour that goes on the top of the turret, and because it's all rubbery, it has a really nice texture to it. Because that's what it is in real life. I think it's a giant slab of rubber that they chuck over them, and it does look great, and it feels great as well. Okay, putting it down, I don't know, this is where you have to make sure your release agent's all gone, but I should think a PVA glue would take care of that really well. But for Sprue T, as you can see it, really, really nice. Okay, okay, so I'm not going to get these guys out, but here is your individual linked tracks. Okay, here is your pins, which are in sort of magazines, for want of a better word. Okay, so the idea is you have your pin. If we just whip one off, okay, then you'll place that into this guy, okay, which is your track system. So you put your track in. Tell you what, let's have a go. Let's have a quick live. Sorry if it makes this go on a little bit longer, but I want to know if it works as well. Suppose I should get the instructions out. Okay, now I'm just going to do it really, really quickly, because obviously I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm as intrigued as you are. Okay, so we have our two parts like this. Now, get some instructions. If you don't want to watch this bit, fast forward to a couple of minutes. Okay. Right, okay, so that's the thing. So we have these. You just, I'm wondering what order you put them into the slots. It doesn't say. Okay, so there we go. That's them all lined in, and then we're just going to place this on top, and it sort of clicks. Then theoretically, we shove this guy in and give it a push. All right, then we take it out. Okay. Making sure they're all in. Then theoretically it says we just trim them off. Okay, so trimming, 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 trimming. Well, it's on there. I don't know if it's on there brilliant. I didn't pick it up in case it all falls off. But theoretically is the track is now all holding in together. It feels extremely flimsy, and it's only pinned on one side. And you can't pin it on the other, I don't think. Perhaps you do it on the other as well. Yeah, I presume then you'll flip it over and do the same on the other side, and that gives you a full working track. So hey, but as I say, I reckon it'd be one of those nice fun jobs to do. Okay, couple of bits, clear bits. To be honest, not a lot of point having a look at those because it doesn't be too clear on armour. Photo etch bit, so we've got a wheel mask as we now know, and this is for the Dozer blade, and we've got a piece of string which is going to double up as your rear cable. We've got the decals on the back, as you can see, very, very nice. We got this guy here, which is the clear part for putting the actual tension bars, all the same as well. It clips to the side. That makes sure they're all in the right position. Okay. And then we've got this guy, which is the actual blade. Again, weather up really nicely, and the back end of it, which is absolutely fantastic, which shows a nice level of detail. This is just all for the Dozer blade, so we've got the hydraulics system, more release agent, okay, right the way over this. Very nicely done. A couple of big ejector pin marks on the back here, but that's going to be covered up, so we're not worried about that at all. And then the best bit, okay, you get the electronic light system, which is a great little touch. Apart from it uses the battery none of us have got lying around. Okay, so actually what we got is two LEDs, very small seed LEDs, and a push down, push up switch. Okay, that is what's going to do your thing. So this will go in your turret, so you can unlock it, get it off, turn on your lights, put it back down, and away you go, I assume. But let's face it, it's a pain it being that battery, because none of us have those flying around. I know why it's small, but you think they could just stick a normal one down in there, you know, a AA or something else like that. So there we go. That is the Meng T-90 with the LED lighting system and with the Dozer blade. Great kit.